Hi, I'm Gary Naum. This is a part of an ongoing series of video bios. It's a way of allowing people who don't know who I am, but are interested in my career and perspectives and how I've evolved, how I've grown, how I've learned lessons and shared them with other people. And this is about my broadcasting career. My first radio series that I was on the air on a weekly basis was called Writers Forum. And it was strictly interviewing writers, generally topics of great interest: Buckminster Fuller, George Borgstrom, and Linus Pauling, Rene Dubois, hundreds of people I interviewed on very heady topics. To really do a good radio interview, you have to read the material and become very familiar with the author, their background, and what they're trying to say. I honored the author by being prepared. This led to me being invited on to the John Gambling Show, one of the original premier programs in all of radio in the United States. It was on WR. And then Joan Hamburg as a guest, and Sally Joseph Raphael. I was a guest during Rating Sweep, and that was because people were interested in the topic of health, and I was also a health advocate. I was the only young person. There was no one else young in the field talking about healthy topics because I just happened to have had a series of best-selling books on health and nutrition. Then one day, I was asked by a gentleman named Bob Smith, who had been the president of RKO Radio and Television, which at that time was the powerhouse in broadcasting radio in the United States. And he said, "You should have a daily show." So he introduced me to Helen Strauss of WMCA, and they had been broadcasting for a long time, and I was given a chance to do a show in the afternoon, the dead hours when people weren't listening. But turns out we went from a very low rating of around 2,000 quarter-hour listeners to over 100,000, to where I was the number one listened to radio program in the afternoon in the United States on a little 5,000-watt station with a lot of people. That's where Sally Jesse was, Barry Farber, Long John Neville, Candy Jones, Bruce Williams, Barry Gray, a legend in radio. So they had all these heavyweights doing talk, and I had the number one program. And so I went from WMCA over to WBAI. I went from very high up to a station that was doing the worst. My agent, he said, "Do you want to go on ABC or CBS? You can pick your choice." And I said, "No. I want to help the one station that needs most help." And at that time, the last station in all of New York was WBAI. It had had its moment. It was a guiding light for activists who were concerned about the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, women's movement, anti-abuse of human movement. It was really great. It was relevant. Relevance. So when I went there, they had no ratings. But over a short period of time, I built the ratings up until we were once again relevant. And it was a wonderful time. It was an exciting time. I've been there for 45 years, and it's the longest-running, daily, uninterrupted, non-commercial radio program in American history. It's the longest-running health program in American history. At the same time I was on non-commercial radio, I also was on commercial radio. I went back to WMCA when the Strausses no longer owned it, and was there in the evening from 8 to 10, then Barry Farber was midnight to 6 a.m., and Alan Combs was 10 to midnight. So we had a wonderful lineup, and that to me was the most joyful, happy time in my entire broadcasting career, those 3 years. Then it was bought by a Christian station, and they didn't want the program when we had. I was on ABC radio network for 12 years, and ABC network radio on Saturday as well, and then WR, and then WEVD for 12 years. So I have been on non-commercial radio nonstop for 45 years and commercial radio for 52 years. And so I brought people from ABC and WR and WMCA and WEVD over to WBAI. The whole Pacifica Foundation is struggling. I was on KPFK in Los Angeles, 6 hours a week for 33 years, and WPFW for 36 years.
I don't know the numbers, but I can tell you that Gary raised millions and millions of dollars for WBAI. And without Gary, there would not be a WBAI. You know, so.
Then I started the Progressive Radio Network 14 years ago. And we're the #1 progressive radio station in the world. My program's #1 in the world. We've had over 100 million downloads of my program, and we have some of the finest voices. Abby Martin, Ralph Nader. We have the people who are really making a difference, and here they can't be censored. Here they have an opportunity to do the best they can, and they do. So we have a very conscientious audience, an extraordinarily conscientious host. So I'm still going every day, Monday to Friday, noon to 1, and then Tuesdays with the Progressive Commentary Hour, 7 to 8. We have a massive archive with over 20,000 shows. We're here to help people, engage them in critical thought, and empower them to live longer and healthier lives. Thank you.